Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Browncoat67. I see we have several of us in the chat this morning. Morning, everybody. How is everybody doing today? So we got quite a few people here. All right, so I hope you are all excited for the hollow purple technique. I had a good few amount of people, and one of them was more adamant than the rest, asking for Jujutsu Kaisen. And I immediately thought of Dojo, and I was like, all right, we're gonna do some purple, and I'm pretty excited to show you how. Uh, see, we got quite a few people. How you doing? I see Mrad Panda, R. I'm not sure. Let's see. Man, there's a lot. Dave, Seek Gaming. How's everybody doing this morning? All right, so I want to kind of dig right in here, and this is going to be the very basis of how we're going to make the actual ability work. The purple sphere, the hollow technique, is not something that's easily made in a cubic game, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going to use two armor stands, and I'm going to walk you through this. And one of the armor stands I'm going to use to control the location, and the other one is basically going to be stuck at the position of the first one, and it's going to spin. And we're going to use that rotation to create the spherical look of the attack that we're using. So I want to show you what I'm doing here. In this command block here, all I'm doing is teleporting the armor stand named purple, one block above, unless a player has the tag purple. That's how we're going to be getting our ability today. So right away, everybody, if you're following along, let's go ahead and do /tag at s add purple. Browncoat, will I make all powers of Gojo? I am considering it, yes. My son and I talked about that last night. He wants me to do the red and blue. There's a few other actual abilities from the show, too, that I'm looking at as well. So that is something that I'm likely to be doing a little bit more of. There are actually a couple more animes that I've seen some requests for as well. I already have the purple tag. Oh, you know what? Don't give yourself the purple tag. If you did, let's fix that. I remember. Tag, and you're going to do @s remove purple. We're going to actually use that to trigger the attack. So make sure you don't have that tag right away. So unless somebody has that tag, it's just going to keep that armor stand directly above that. Sorry, I literally just woke up like 20 minutes ago. My alarm didn't go off this morning. So that literally, it just keeps it there above it. I don't want it anywhere else during the meantime. And then what I'm going to do over here is repeating always active. These two commands are going to control the armor stand that's stuck at the location of the first one and the spin mechanic that you see with the armor stand on the screen. And so what we're doing is we're going to execute as an entity named spin. So that's going to be the spinning armor stand. And we're going to do that at the position of the entity named purple, which is just the standing still armor stand. And we're just going to teleport ourselves to that position. And self in this situation is the spinning armor stand. And then this here, chain conditional always active, this is what is going to control that spin. And we're just going to execute as the spinning armor stand at its location. And we're going to run teleport. We're going to keep ourselves in the same position, but we're going to be facing and *1, *2. So *1 means one block to the right of your camera view. And then the camera 2 on the end means 2 blocks ahead. So where that actually ends up being is diagonal from where you're currently standing. So this is a gentle spin. This isn't a rapid spin. It's more of a gentle spin. Otherwise, the particle effects get really wonky. So if you type those in, these three commands, you'll end up with this situation right here. You'll have two armor stands that are just floating, and one of them is spinning. This is good. This is perfect. That's where you want to be. The next thing we can do is we're going to create the particle effects. Yeah, I've got some mulling errors that have been popping up on my game. I downloaded an add-on a couple weeks ago, and since then I've been having these errors on my screen. So always be aware when you're downloading add-ons. One second, my cat is knocking over brooms. Wait. Wait. What are you doing? Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the base particle effects. This is the starting particle effects. When he first starts charging it in front of him, it's more like a growing mass of purple energy, and then it gets a spherical shape right as he blasts it. So this is going to be the starting effects. So let's take a look at here. We got a repeating. If you want to have the lever on it, you can do it as needs redstone. If you don't want the lever on it, you just want it to run, just set this as always active. And what we're going to do is we're going to execute at the armor stands that is spinning. And we're going to run a particle. And the first one we're doing is Minecraft Eye of... oh, sorry. Eye of Ender Death Explode Particle. So when you throw your Endstone or your Eye of Ender and it crashes into the ground and it makes like that purple smoke, this is the base effect that we're borrowing. And we're going to operate it about 1.5 blocks up from the ground on the armor stand. We're going to do a few different commands to try and make this the sphere shape, and I believe this is going to be the top of the sphere. And then right here, chain conditional always active. Pretty much the exact same thing, but we're going to change our positioning on that. You'll see here that we're actually going to be doing it slightly off to the right side. That's positive 0.6, and then it's only 1 on the Y. So this is a little bit lower down and a little bit off to the side. And then just like that one again, this one is going to be off to the opposite side. So now we have a mass on the top, right? It starts up here, and then a little bit down, it gets wider out. So this is the middle of the sphere. So those are the sides, and then this one should be in the very center. Nope, this is the bottom. Okay, so this one's going to be at the bottom of the sphere. You'll see tilde, tilde, 0.5, tilde. So this is the lowest point. This one's going to be the center. Yeah, just tilde, tilde, 1, tilde. And so all of these are going to create that purple mass of energy that you see right there. When we fire it, I'm going to add another particle that's a little bit more spherical shaped. That'll be in addition to this. But this is when we're charging up that energy. This is what we're first going to summon in front of us. Now the next thing is we want to make the armor stands invisible. So that's what I've got going on here. And that is what it's going to look like at first without the armor stands. So what we're doing here is I have repeating, and you can do always active on this one as well. And we're just going to do the invisibility effect. You can do infinite. I did 1-1 just so I could turn it on and off and show you the process of creating this. If you do infinite, once it becomes invisible, it'll never be visible again. But we got to do the armor stand named purple. And then in this one here, we're going to do the armor stand named spin. Make sure we get both of those. So now we have the ability all ready to go. Let's put the commands together so that you can fire it. It's going to be really cool. So starting off, we're going to use a repeating always active command block here. I'm using a 4-tick delay. And we want to make sure that that one is not going to execute on the first tick. We want there to be an actual delay. And what we're doing is we're going to do replace item. And the entity is going to be an entity named, and then put your username here. Tag not purple. All right, we're going to use that purple tag when we're actually firing the ability. So we want to make sure that in this situation we're checking that you're not tagged purple. And then it's going to do your hotbar, the 8th slot, or the 9th one realistically. The first one is number 0, so this is the last slot on your hotbar. And it's going to put a purple die there, as long as there's nothing there. So if you have something there, you're going to want to remove that. And then we have chained unconditional, always active attached to that. Oh, let me give you, actually, that was a little quick. Let me give you another minute here to look at that. Yeah, purple die is going to be the trigger here. We're going to be dropping the item in order to make this one work. And then again, chain unconditional, always active here. What we're doing is we're going to execute as the player named, put your username, has item, item equals purple die, location equals slot.weapon.main hand. So that's checking if you're holding that purple die in your hand. And then if you are, it's going to run the title command. It's going to put the title down on the action bar, which is right above your hotbar. And let me click on this so you can see. I did do the section symbol. There are several different ways to get that. On PC, I'd do Alt 0167 on the numpad, or you can do the character map. All the consoles have different access ways. Some of them you have to press and hold keys. Some of them you have access through the character map menu on your keyboard. Androids are all different. So you can Google how to get that symbol if you want. It's called a section symbol. And then I'm doing a 5 after that to make it this it's kind of a magenta, violet, purple, a little bit more pink than purple, but I really like the way that it looks. And that's just going to display Hollow Technique purple. And then we're coming down here. And we have another repeating always active. There's not going to be any delay on this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to execute at the position of that purple die that you just dropped. And as long as you're within 2 blocks of it, it's going to give you that purple tag. So this is why we didn't want to give it to you earlier. It's used only when you're firing the weapon. That was my bad earlier. Like I said, I just woke up. So, my bad. Chain conditional, always active. And we're going to execute at the new player that has that tag, which is going to be you, using the ability. And we're going to kill any purple die that's nearby, so we're going to get rid of the item that we just dropped. And then here, chain unconditional, always active. We're going to execute at your position, and we're going to run teleport. Any entity that's name is purple, that's not tagged fire, we're going to teleport it to this position right in front of us. So at this moment, the entity named purple without the tag fire is the armor stand that we're going to be using to control the location of the ability. So that is going to put the ability directly in front of you. Then here, repeating always active, this one, not executing on the first tick, 20 tick delay, right? And what we're going to do here is we're going to test at our position to see if that armor stand is nearby. I want that delay there because the ability needs to be there in front of you for a moment before you fire it. It shouldn't fire right away. And then here, chain conditional always active. We're now going to execute as that entity named purple, and we're going to give it the fire tag. This is going to control when the ability shoots forward. And as I mentioned, we're going to add a couple more particles as well. There's going to be specifically a spherical explosion particle that's small, that's going to help create the circle shape. And then there's a very big explosion particle we're adding for the destruction of the landscape. Because in the anime, there's a ton of smoke cloud coming out of that as it rummages through that crap. So now we're going to work on the actual ability, moving. If anybody has any questions, feel free to post. If there was a spot you need me to go back to, let me know. I can go back and revisit. We're actually getting pretty close to the end. And then, again, if you have a spot you need me to go back to, let me know. I think I skipped the first one. Repeating, always active. And this one's going to have no delay. What we're going to do is we're going to execute at this is that armor stand that we just tagged fire, so this is the ability. And we're going to run particle, Minecraft, dragon, dying explosion, tilde, tilde, 1, tilde. I can talk. So this is going to be a small, very spherical, very compact explosion particle that's going to create the spherical look of the move as it flies away. And then here, we're going to do chain conditional, always active. We're going to execute as the armor stand that we tagged fire at its location, but we're going to be rotated as the player with the purple tag. We're going to run teleport, caret, caret, caret 3. So this is going to fire the ability forward in the direction that your camera is facing. I think I was a little quick on that one. Give me another second. And then chain conditional always active. This one here is going to be a fill command that's more or less going to destroy all the blocks around the armor stand. So we're going to execute as that armor stand that we tagged fire, but you'll notice I have RM20. So this won't work unless you're at least 20 blocks away from this specific position where the command block is. This is just to prevent the unnecessary and unwanted destruction of your command blocks using the fill command, because the fill command has no problem destroying command blocks. So this shouldn't work near your command blocks. It's going to execute as that armor stand at its location. Now, if entity tag equals purple, RM equals 7. So it's also not going to run unless the entity with the tag purple, which is us, is at least 7 blocks away. So as it gets 7 blocks away from you and you're not near the commands, it'll run this. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill ~3, ~3, ~3, ~3, ~3, ~3. So this is a 7 by 7 by 7 cube around the armor stand that will be destroyed. And I had a couple complaints with the orbital cannon builds that I did. The commands that I used destroy so that it would drop all the blocks that were destroyed. I didn't realize that this was going to be a really big problem on some of the like phones. I've heard it's a really big issue. Some other computers. So I'm using replace on this one. It'll be a little bit easier for your computer to handle because it won't have to create all those entity item blocks when the blocks get destroyed. And then, was that the last one? No. Okay, so only when it is tearing blocks up, only when the fill command actually runs, will it then run this one because it's conditional. So chain conditional always active. And we're going to execute at that armor stand's position. And we're going to run particle Minecraft Dragon Death Explosion Emitter. Now this is a massive explosion. And you'll see I'm doing it 1 block below the armor stand because of how big it actually is. This explosion is going to simulate the destruction of all of the... this is a stream fantasy. Sorry, everybody's probably typing, doing the commands as I go through them. How you doing today? So it's going to be a little bit below the armor stand. It's going to be a really big destruction cloud as it just blows through everything. And then we got these two that are right here, repeating always active. And what we're going to do is we're going to execute at that armor stand. We're going to run play sound. It's the Warden Sonic Boom, but we're going to modify it. We're going to do all players within 20 blocks at the position of the armor stand, volume 1. And then this is the pitch control. So I'm doing 0.5. Make sure the zero's on there. For a float, it needs to have the 0 before the decimal. Otherwise, it's not gonna. It's gonna look for it, the period as a symbol rather than as part of a number. And this is gonna drop the pitch in half, and you're gonna end up with this really deep, low, thunderous roar. It sounds perfect. It matches up almost just like the sound from the anime. And then chain conditional always active. We're going to execute as that armor stand at its location, and we're going to run a damage command. Any entity that is within 8 blocks that's not got that purple tag, that's not named purple, so it's not us, it's not the armor stand, it's not the other armor stands named spin, and it's not experience orbs because, again, we like to pick those up typically. But this attack is going to do 100 damage. I specifically wanted it to be able to one-shot an iron golem. I really like to test out my abilities on iron golems, and so this incinerates them immediately, and it will also level most of the village behind them as well, so be careful when you're doing that one. And then we got a couple more over here, a few. This one repeating, always active. We're going to execute as that, actually this is going to be as you. This is the player with the tag purple. And then if the armor stand fire exists, we're going to run camera shake. We're going to add at S 0.22. So this is not a crazy camera shake. You can also drop this number down if you want it to be to like 0.1, if you want it to be a little bit lessened, but 0.2 really is a fairly gentle camera shake, and it only lasts a few seconds. And then this one over here, executing as the player tagged purple at our location. If the armor stand named purple gets at least 120 blocks away, we're going to remove the purple tag from us. Now remember, if we don't have the purple tag, the armor stand is going to get teleported immediately back to this position. So instead of killing it, we're actually going to keep this one alive. Chain conditional always active. And then obviously we want to remove the fire tag from the entity that's tagged fire. So this kind of resets everything there. Now, if your armor stands do end up dying, these two command blocks here will solve that problem. So repeating always active. Basically what we're doing is, unless that entity exists, we're going to run this. So if that entity dies, it no longer exists, immediately we're going to summon a new one with the exact same name. We're going to do the same thing here, except for this one is with spin. So unless there's an armor stand named spin, we're not going to do anything. As soon as there's not, we're going to make a new armor stand named spin. So this will automatically reset this if the armor stands were to break. And that should be the hollow purple technique. Does anybody have any questions, or is there any parts that you want me to go back to? I really like doing these above water when you're using the fill command. Holy crap, I broke the water. Alright, let's see. How deep is the water? 61. And then let's do it here too. There we go. I fixed the water. But yeah, the range on this is about 120 blocks. I want to show you one thing. You want to make sure to really get the full effectiveness of this move and make sure that it's running properly. Go into your settings. Go to the advanced settings. And one of the things that I always do is I change the simulation distance up to 8 chunks. This means that the game will apply changes within a range of about 128 blocks from the player. So this will keep that range loaded. Most games now start off only at 4 chunks. So you're only simulating out to 64 blocks away from you now. This is a recent change in one of the last few updates that cut the native simulation distance down a little bit. So adjust that up to 8 chunks if you want the ability to go the 120 blocks. Otherwise, you might want to change that range down to something that actually gets simulated. Hat Gamer, I was just going over with everybody the purple hollow technique from Jujutsu Kaisen. Actually, if you want to see a demonstration, I was about to blow a hole in this mountain. Let's, do we want to... Yeah, here we go. Yeah, and it always looks shorter, the distance, when you're looking at it down the end, but that is actually a really, really long trail of destruction. So that is about 120 blocks. So if you want it to be there, you can set that range, again, looking for the distance as 120, and then it takes that tag away. If you want to make it larger, and you can increase your simulation distance and your equipment allows you to, make the range bigger. You know, if I turn this up to, if I could get it up to a 12, I believe that I could do, what is that, like 196 blocks or something like that of distance that you could then run your ability to go that far. But 120 blocks is usually pretty good because they also, with the new pretty expansion that made everything look fancy for us, they've added this fog a little bit closer in as well. And so the distance of 120 blocks on my attack tends to go to about the edge of the fog. So I feel like it more or less... Yeah, mining just got replaced, right? I feel like 120 is pretty good. And again, this shouldn't work on your command blocks because we are making sure that that fill commands doesn't run if you're within 20 blocks. I'm going to test it. All right, everybody, fingers crossed for me, because otherwise I'm going to destroy everything. Here we go. There we go. And that's why we type in that line that makes sure that it doesn't work within 20 blocks of that command block, so that if you accidentally do fire it at your commands, they're perfectly fine. R says it works. Awesome. I'm glad you got it working. If anybody does anything cool, or you make any videos with this, let me know. I love to see that stuff, everybody. So if you do anything and you want to show me, tag me on YouTube. I always check out videos that I get tagged in. You can send me a link in the comments section. I do try to reply to most of the comments that y'all leave for me. So I'm a little crazy, R. I'm a little crazy. All right, and then I'll get another vote up soon in the post section, the community section, for our vote for next week. I think the lives from now on, I'm going to let y'all vote and decide what we're going to be putting together. Feel free to throw those suggestions out there as well on those posts. That's a great place for me to look and see what ideas you guys are trying to do. And then when I'm doing I use a random system to pick. So when you guys picked superhero anime, I had about 5 different things in there. It picked Jujutsu Kaisen, and again, like as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, we're gonna do Dojo, and I in the live tonight. Someone requested I do the rest of his abilities, so I'm already planning on probably looking on red and blue. We'll see how those work in the Minecraft worlds. There's a couple other abilities I wanted to try and do, but yeah. Next live stream, I do them every Saturday morning. Every Saturday morning, I do a live stream. I also try to post at least a couple videos and several shorts throughout the week. Feel free to let me know comments on those, what you guys are liking or not liking as well. If there's any questions here, feel free to ask. But this does work on so many different things. And honestly, if I were to take you on a trip to the world kind of around, you'll see several areas where I was testing this during the development. I believe over here, yep, top of this mountain over here. Where are you from? I am from Michigan. Michigan, it's right up north, top of the United States, just south of Canada. I blew a hole in the mountain over here. There's a lot of these. I really had to test out the equipment several times to get it working properly. It was a little difficult at first. All right, everybody. Well, I guess we will wrap it up there for today. It was a pretty quick one. Next time, I will try to plan a little bit more for the Saturday stream. Normally, we run about 45 minutes, so kind of surprised to see we're only pushing a half hour here today. But yeah. Thanks for everybody for showing up. We're pretty good turnout today. A lot of you were waiting and already chatting up the chat before I even got here. That was really cool to come into. So I appreciate that. That really does help change the atmosphere quite a bit. This is Browncoat67. I'll catch you next time.